It's 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night. A 17-year-old girl named Emma sits at her desk staring at her laptop screen. Her eyes are bloodshot. Her hands shake as she reaches for her third energy drink of the night. She's already taken 6 AP classes this semester. She's captain of the debate team, volunteers at a children's hospital, plays varsity tennis, and tutors underprivileged kids on weekends. Her GPA is perfect. Her SAT scores are in the 99th percentile. Her college application essay has been rewritten 23 times. And yet, she feels like she's drowning. Her chest is tight, her mind races, and there's a voice in her head, a relentless, unforgiving voice that whispers the same thing over and over. It's not enough. You're not enough. You'll never be enough. Here's the question that keeps Emma awake at night, and it might be keeping you awake too. When did success stop being about building a good life and start being about proving your worth? When did achievement become a measure of your value as a human being, and how did we create a generation of kids who are more accomplished than ever, but more anxious, depressed, and empty than any generation before them? Welcome to Ladder Up English, where we transform powerful books into life-changing insights. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most important books for parents, educators, and anyone caught in the achievement trap, Never Enough, When Achievement Culture Becomes Toxic and What We Can Do About It, by Jennifer Breheny Wallace. By the end of this video, you'll understand why our obsession with achievement is backfiring, how it's damaging our kids' mental health, and most importantly, what you can do about it starting today. Let's begin. Direct answer: what this book reveals. So what's the core message of Never Enough? Here's the simple truth that Jennifer Breheny Wallace spent years researching. Our achievement culture has become toxic because we've taught children that their worth depends on their accomplishments. When kids believe they only matter if they achieve, they develop fragile self-esteem, chronic anxiety, and a deep sense of emptiness, no matter how successful they become. The book reveals a disturbing paradox. The harder we push our kids to succeed, the more they struggle with mental health. The more advantages we give them, the more pressure they feel. The more they achieve, the less satisfied they become. But here's the hopeful part. Wallace doesn't just diagnose the problem, she offers a solution. She introduces the concept of mattering, helping children feel valued for who they are, not just what they do. When kids feel like they matter unconditionally, they develop resilience, genuine motivation, and the ability to pursue excellence without destroying themselves in the process. This isn't about lowering standards or abandoning achievement. It's about redefining success to include well-being, meaning, and mental health. Now, let's explore how we got here and how we get out. Chapter 1: The Mattering Crisis. The story: Sarah's perfect life. Let me tell you about Sarah. On paper, Sarah has everything. She's 14, lives in an affluent suburb, attends a top-rated school, and her parents, both successful professionals, have given her every opportunity imaginable. Sarah gets straight A's. She's in advanced math and science. She plays competitive soccer. She's learning Spanish and Mandarin. Her schedule is color-coded in 15-minute blocks. But here's what nobody sees. Sarah cries herself to sleep most nights. She has stress-induced stomach aches every morning before school. She's developed obsessive-compulsive behaviors around her homework. Last month, her parents found her having a panic attack in the bathroom because she got a 92 on a chemistry quiz. Not because they punished her, but because she genuinely believed a 92 meant she was failing. When her school counselor asked Sarah to describe herself without mentioning any achievements, Sarah went silent. She literally couldn't do it. After several moments, she whispered, "I don't know who I am if I'm not successful." Sarah is experiencing what Wallace calls the mattering crisis. The concept: when worth becomes conditional. Here's the heartbreaking reality that Wallace's research uncovers. Our children don't feel like they matter for who they are. They only feel like they matter for what they do. Think about the subtle messages we send every day. I am so proud of you for making the honor roll. Great job winning that game. You are so talented, keep it up. These seem like positive, encouraging statements, right? But here's what children hear underneath. My parents are proud of me because I achieved. I'm valuable when I win. I'm talented if I keep performing. Over time, these messages create what psychologists call contingent self-worth, the belief that your value as a person depends on your performance. And contingent self-worth is devastating. Wallace presents research showing that children with contingent self-worth experience higher rates of anxiety and depression, more perfectionism and fear of failure, lower resilience when facing setbacks, chronic feelings of inadequacy despite success. The most shocking statistic: in high-achieving schools, up to 1 in 3 students shows symptoms meeting criteria for clinical anxiety or depression, not occasional stress, actual mental health disorders. Why? Because these kids are living in a state of constant evaluation. Their worth feels perpetually at risk. One bad grade, one lost game, one rejection, and they feel like they've lost their value as human beings. The science behind mattering. Wallace introduces the concept of mattering, a psychological term that means feeling valued by others independent of accomplishments. True mattering has 2 components. 1. Significance, feeling important to the people in your life. 2. Helpfulness, feeling able to contribute meaningfully to others. When kids experience true mattering, they develop what researchers call intrinsic self-worth, the belief that they're valuable simply because they exist, not because of what they accomplish. Studies show that kids who feel they matter unconditionally have better mental health outcomes, higher genuine motivation, not fear-driven, greater resilience after failures, stronger relationships, and, paradoxically, often better academic performance. Here's the key insight. Achievement motivated by mattering is sustainable and healthy. Achievement motivated by proving your worth is toxic and exhausting. Practical application. How to foster mattering. So how do you help your child feel like they matter? Strategy 1. Separate praise from achievement. Instead of, I'm proud of you for getting an A, try, I'm proud of the person you're becoming. I noticed how you helped your classmate who was struggling. Strategy 2. Create mattering moments. Set aside regular time focused entirely on connection, not performance. Ask questions like, what made you laugh today? What was hard today? What are you thinking about? Strategy 3. Give meaningful responsibilities. Let children contribute to the family in real ways, not just chores, but actual responsibilities, like planning a meal, managing a budget, caring for a pet, helping a sibling. Strategy 4. Model unconditional self-worth. Talk openly about your own failures and setbacks. Show your children that your worth doesn't depend on your performance. One mother Wallace interviewed started sharing her work mistakes at dinner. She'd say, I messed up a presentation today, and I felt embarrassed, but I'm still me, and tomorrow's a new day. Her teenage son later told her, Mom, when you talk about your failures, it makes me feel like it's okay to be imperfect.
Groomed for Ivy League admissions since middle school. Their son Ethan just won a national robotics competition. They live in a beautiful home. They take exotic vacations. They have every resource imaginable. And they're absolutely miserable. Dinner conversations are strategic planning sessions for college applications. Family time is interrupted by test prep. Vacations are scheduled around summer enrichment programs. Even their recreational activities are chosen based on what looks good for admissions. Last year, Olivia got into her dream school, Princeton. The family celebrated for exactly one evening. The next morning, Lisa was already worried. Now you need to maintain a high GPA, secure a prestigious internship, and position yourself for top graduate programs. Olivia looked at her mother and asked a question that broke Lisa's heart. "Mom, when do I get to stop proving myself? When is it finally enough?" Lisa had no answer. Because the truth is, in the achievement trap, it's never enough. The concept: how success becomes an addiction. Wallace identifies what she calls the achievement trap, a self-reinforcing cycle where achievement becomes an addiction, requiring ever-increasing doses to maintain the same satisfaction. Here's how the trap works. Stage 1. Achievement brings rewards. Good grades lead to praise. Trophies earn approval. Prestigious schools provide status. These external rewards trigger dopamine releases. They feel good. Stage 2. We start chasing the rewards. We optimize our lives around achievement. We sacrifice sleep, relationships, hobbies, and downtime in pursuit of the next accomplishment. Stage 3. The rewards lose their power. The A that once felt amazing becomes expected. The trophy that brought joy becomes just another object. We need bigger achievements to feel the same satisfaction. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. We get used to our success and it stops making us happy. Stage 4, we can't stop because our identity is now wrapped up in achieving. Our worth depends on it. Stopping feels like death. This is the achievement trap, and Wallace argues our entire culture is caught in it. Why the trap is so powerful? What makes the achievement trap especially insidious is that it disguises itself as virtue. We call it having high standards, teaching work ethic, preparing kids for a competitive world, not accepting mediocrity. But Wallace's research reveals a darker reality. The achievement trap isn't preparing kids for success, it's programming them for burnout, anxiety, and a lifetime of feeling inadequate. Consider this stunning finding. Students who strongly tie their self-worth to academic performance show 40% higher rates of anxiety disorders, 35% higher rates of depression, significantly lower life satisfaction, greater risk of substance abuse, and higher likelihood of developing eating disorders. And here's the most tragic part. These negative outcomes persist even when students achieve their goals. Getting into Harvard doesn't cure the achievement trap, it just raises the bar higher. Now you need to be top of your class at Harvard, get into the best graduate program, secure the most prestigious job, and on and on. The lies we tell ourselves. Wallace identifies 3 core lies that keep us trapped. Lie number 1, achievement equals happiness. Research consistently shows that once basic needs are met, additional achievement provides diminishing returns in life satisfaction. Accomplished people aren't necessarily happy people. Lie number 2, more achievement equals more security. We believe that if our kids just achieve enough, they'll be safe from life's uncertainties. But no amount of achievement can protect anyone from failure, rejection, or hardship. In fact, kids raised in the achievement trap are less resilient when challenges arise. Lie number 3, we're doing this for our children. Wallace's interviews reveal that achievement pressure often stems from parents' own anxieties, not children's needs. We're often chasing achievement to soothe our own fears about the future, our own regrets about the past, or our own need for validation. Practical application: escaping the trap. So how do you escape the achievement trap? Strategy 1, audit your language. For 1 week, notice how often you talk about achievements versus character. Count how many times you ask, "How did you do?" versus "How did you feel?" The ratio might shock you. Strategy 2. Celebrate process over outcome. Instead of celebrating the A, celebrate the learning process. Tell me about the most interesting thing you learned while studying for that test. What challenged you and how did you figure it out? Strategy 3. Create achievement-free zones. Designate times and spaces where achievement is off limits. No talk of school or work at family dinner. 1 day per week with 0 productivity goals. Vacations that are actually restful, not resume building. Strategy 4. Define your family's values. One family Wallace interviewed created a family mission statement that had nothing to do with achievement. It focused on kindness, curiosity, courage, and connection. Whenever they faced a decision, they asked, "Does this align with our values, or are we just chasing status?" Key takeaway: the achievement trap promises fulfillment, but delivers exhaustion. True satisfaction comes not from achieving more, but from mattering more to yourself and to the people you love. Engagement question: are you caught in the achievement trap? What would change in your life if you gave yourself permission to be good enough instead of constantly striving for more? Drop your thoughts below. Chapter 3. Why affluent kids suffer most. The story: the pressure cooker of privilege. Let me tell you about Westfield Academy, an elite private school where tuition costs $45,000 per year. Walk through the parking lot and you'll see Tesla, BMW, and Mercedes vehicles dropping off students. The campus has state-of-the-art science labs, an Olympic-sized pool, and a college counseling office that looks like a tech startup. These kids have every advantage imaginable: private tutors, test prep courses, enrichment programs, international travel, access to influential networks. And Westfield has a mental health crisis. Last year, 3 students were hospitalized for mental health emergencies. The school counselors have a 6-week waiting list. Teachers report that students break down crying over grades, skip meals due to stress, and operate on dangerously little sleep. One parent described finding Xanax in her 15-year-old son's backpack. When confronted, he said, "Mom, everyone takes something to deal with the pressure. Some kids use Adderall to study. Some kids use anxiety meds. One girl I know cuts herself. I'm just trying to survive." This is what Wallace calls the affluenza effect, the paradox that privilege can become poison when combined with toxic achievement culture. The concept: how advantage becomes disadvantage. Wallace's research reveals a troubling pattern. Children from affluent families often show weights of anxiety, depression, and substance abuse comparable to or higher than children from disadvantaged backgrounds. How is this possible? Reason 1: the pressure is inescapable. In affluent communities, achievement culture isn't just a personal choice. It's the water everyone swims in. Status is determined by accomplishments. Dinner party conversations revolve around kids' college acceptances. Parents' identities become wrapped up in their children's success. Kids absorb this cultural obsession. They feel like they're carrying not just their own futures, but their family's reputations and their community's expectations. Reason 2: the competition is brutal. When everyone has access to tutors, test prep, college consultants, and enrichment programs, the playing field is level in terms of resources. So the only way to differentiate is to work harder, achieve more, and be more perfect than everyone else. It becomes an arms race where everyone is running faster just to stay in place. Reason 3: failure feels catastrophic. In communities where everyone seems to be succeeding spectacularly, any setback feels like falling off a cliff. Getting rejected from an elite college isn't just disappointing, it's humiliating. Being average isn't okay, it's failure. Wallace shares a chilling statistic. In affluent high schools, students are 2 to 3 times more likely to report experiencing peer pressure about achievement than students in less affluent schools. Reason 4: loneliness behind perfection.
Affluent achievement culture creates an environment where vulnerability is dangerous. Admitting struggle feels like weakness. Asking for help feels like failure. So kids suffer in silence. They maintain Instagram-worthy facades of success while crumbling inside. The hidden costs of privilege. Wallace identifies several ways privilege becomes toxic. Over-involvement. Affluent parents often have the time and resources to be intensely involved in every aspect of their children's lives. Homework, activities, social dynamics. This prevents kids from developing autonomy and resilience. Overprotection. When parents have resources, they can shield children from consequences, calling teachers to contest grades, hiring lawyers to handle disciplinary issues, pulling strings to secure opportunities. This prevents kids from learning to navigate challenges independently. Over-optimization. Affluent families can afford to optimize every aspect of childhood. The best schools, the most activities, the top coaches, the premier programs. But this constant optimization leaves no room for exploration, failure, or genuine self-discovery. Practical application. Using privilege wisely. If you're an affluent family, how do you provide advantages without creating toxicity? Strategy 1. Resist the arms race. Just because you can hire tutors, enroll in premium programs, and optimize every moment doesn't mean you should. Ask, is this truly serving my child's well-being, or am I doing it because everyone else is? Strategy 2. Create authentic connections. Use your resources to expose your children to diverse communities and perspectives. Volunteer together in different socioeconomic contexts. Build friendships across class lines. One family Wallace interviewed spent their vacation budget not on luxury resorts, but on service trips where their teenagers worked alongside people from different backgrounds. Strategy 3. Teach resource gratitude. Help children understand and appreciate their privileges without developing entitlement. Talk openly about inequality, luck, and responsibility. Strategy 4. Prioritize connection over perfection. One wealthy father Wallace interviewed made a radical choice. He sold his business to take a less demanding job that allowed him to be present for his kids. He took a significant income cut. He told Wallace, "I realized I was giving my children every advantage except the one that mattered most, a father who wasn't constantly stressed and distracted." Strategy 5. Redefine success. The Johnson family, from the earlier story, eventually made dramatic changes. They reduced their daughter's activities by half. They stopped discussing college rankings at dinner. They focused on character development and family connection. Lisa Johnson told Wallace, "We had to grieve the version of success we thought we wanted, but the family we became is so much healthier than the family we were trying to be." Key takeaway. Privilege is a gift, but it can become a curse when used to intensify achievement pressure rather than support well-being. The wisest use of resources is creating space for children to discover who they are, not just what they can achieve. Engagement question. If you have resources and advantages, how are you using them? Are they supporting your family's well-being or feeding the achievement trap? Share your perspective below. Chapter 4. The Parent's Dilemma. The story. Love that looks like pressure. Rachel thought she was being a good mother. Her daughter Sophie was gifted, talented in both academics and music. Rachel wanted to nurture those gifts. So she researched the best schools, the top music teachers, the most prestigious competitions. She helped Sophie practice. She drove her to lessons and competitions. She proofread her homework. She networked with other parents to learn about opportunities. Rachel was involved, supportive, and dedicated. But something was wrong. Sophie, once a joyful child who loved learning and playing piano, had become anxious and resentful. She started having panic attacks before performances. She cried over homework. She told her school counselor she felt like she was never good enough. When the counselor called Rachel to discuss Sophie's anxiety, Rachel was shocked. She said, "But I'm just trying to help her. I'm just being supportive. I love her so much." The counselor gently replied, "I know you love her, but Sophie doesn't feel your love. She feels your expectations." That conversation changed Rachel's life. The concept. When support, becomes pressure. Wallace dedicates significant attention to what she calls the parent's dilemma, the impossible tightrope between supporting achievement and preventing toxicity. Here's the dilemma. Parents today face unprecedented pressure to do everything right. We're told that the world is more competitive than ever, opportunities are scarce, small decisions in childhood have massive long-term consequences, and if we don't give our kids every advantage, they'll be left behind. So we do what any loving parent would do. We try to help, but somewhere along the way, help morphs into over-involvement. Support becomes pressure, and love expresses itself as anxiety. Wallace identifies the key forms of toxic parenting: helicopter parenting, hovering over every aspect of a child's life, constantly monitoring and intervening. The intention is protective. The result is children who never develop autonomy, confidence, or problem-solving skills. Snowplow parenting, going beyond hovering to actively clearing all obstacles from the child's path. These parents call teachers to contest grades, hire consultants to write college essays, pull strings to secure opportunities. The intention is to help. The result is children who never learn resilience. Achievement-oriented parenting, organizing a child's life around accomplishment. Every activity is evaluated for its contribution to college applications. Downtime is seen as wasted time. The intention is preparation for success. The result is children who lose touch with intrinsic motivation and genuine interests.
35% higher rates of depression, lower self-esteem, more academic dishonesty, cheating to meet expectations, poorer relationships with parents. Paradoxically, sometimes worse academic outcomes. The most important finding? The key predictor of adolescent well-being isn't achievement level. It's feeling valued by parents, independent of achievement. Kids who believe their parents love them for who they are, not what they accomplish, show dramatically better outcomes across every measure: mental health, life satisfaction, resilience, and even academic performance. Practical application: supporting without pressuring. So, how do you support your child's growth without crushing them with expectations? Strategy 1. Check your motivation. Before you push, intervene, or help, ask yourself, am I doing this for my child or to soothe my own anxiety? Whose dream am I pursuing? Theirs or mine? Am I responding to my child's actual needs or to what I think they should need? Strategy 2. Listen more than you direct. One mother started a new practice. Before offering advice or solutions, she would say, "Tell me more about that." She reported that her teenage son started opening up in ways he never had before. Strategy 3. Separate your identity from their achievements. Your worth isn't determined by your child's success. When you can genuinely believe that, you'll stop unconsciously pressuring them to perform for your validation. Strategy 4. Repair when you mess up. Wallace emphasizes that you will mess up. All parents do. The key is repairing the damage. If you push too hard, apologize. "I'm sorry I put so much pressure on you about that test." Your worth doesn't depend on that grade. Strategy 5. Focus on your relationship, not their resume. Years from now, your child won't remember their SAT score, but they will remember whether you made them feel loved, accepted, and valued. One father Wallace interviewed put it beautifully. "I want my daughter to look back on her childhood and remember that I was in her corner, not on her back." Key takeaway: the best gift you can give your children isn't opportunities, advantages, or achievements. It's the unshakable belief that they're worthy of love exactly as they are. When kids feel unconditionally valued, they develop the confidence and resilience to pursue excellence without destroying themselves in the process. Engagement question. Parents, what's one way you can show your child today that you value them for who they are, not what they achieve? Share your ideas below. Other parents need your wisdom. Chapter 5.
breaking free from toxic success. The story? The Garcia family transformation. 2 years ago, the Garcia family was drowning in achievement culture. Both parents worked demanding jobs. Their 3 kids were involved in multiple competitive activities. Evenings were a blur of homework, test prep, and shuttling between practices. Weekends were consumed with tournaments, enrichment programs, and college prep. They rarely ate dinner together. They hadn't taken a real vacation in 5 years. The kids were showing signs of stress. One developed an anxiety disorder, another started having behavioral problems at school. Then, something dramatic happened. Their middle child, a talented athlete being recruited by college coaches, had a complete breakdown. He refused to go to practice. He told his parents, "I don't care about soccer anymore. I never even liked it that much. I just did it because I thought that's what you wanted." That was the wake-up call. The Garcias made radical changes. They reduced each child's activities to one thing they genuinely loved. They instituted sacred Sundays. No homework, no activities, just family time. They stopped discussing grades and college at dinner. They started asking different questions. What brought you joy today? Instead of, what did you accomplish? The transformation took time. Initially, the kids didn't know how to relax, but gradually something shifted. Their oldest daughter, freed from the pressure to be perfect, started exploring poetry, something that served no purpose, but brought her genuine joy. Their middle son discovered he actually loved playing music, not for competitions, but just for fun. Their youngest, who'd been the easy child, who never complained, finally admitted she'd been miserable trying to keep up with her siblings. Today, the Garcia family is closer, happier, and more authentic than ever. And here's the surprising part. Their kids are still achieving. But now the achievement comes from genuine interest and intrinsic motivation, not fear and pressure. Mrs. Garcia told Wallace, "We thought we were helping our kids succeed, but we were actually teaching them that they weren't enough. Breaking free from toxic success was the best decision we ever made." The concept, redefining success. Wallace's ultimate message isn't that achievement is bad. It's that our definition of success is too narrow and our methods for pursuing it are toxic. She proposes a new framework for success that includes well-being alongside achievement, character development alongside skill building, meaning and purpose alongside accomplishment, strong relationships alongside individual success, and joy and curiosity alongside discipline and hard work. This isn't about lowering standards. It's about broadening our definition of what it means to flourish as a human being. The path to healthy achievement. Wallace presents a roadmap. Principle 1, cultivate mattering. Make your children feel significant, important to you, and helpful, able to contribute meaningfully. Give them real responsibilities. Create rituals of connection. Tell them explicitly, you matter to me for who you are, not what you do. Principle 2, emphasize character over credentials. Focus on who your children are becoming, not just what they're achieving. Celebrate kindness, integrity, resilience, and empathy as much or even more than grades and trophies. Principle 3, foster intrinsic motivation. Help children discover what genuinely interests them, not what looks good on applications. Support exploration without immediate payoff. Value the process of learning, not just the outcome. Principle 4, model healthy achievement. Examine your own relationship with success. Are you defining your worth by your accomplishments? Demonstrate that it's okay to fail, to be imperfect, to pursue things purely for joy. Principle 5, build community support. You can't fight achievement culture alone. Connect with like-minded families, advocate for changes in schools, create community spaces where kids can be valued for who they are. Practical application, your 30-day challenge. Wallace offers a practical 30-day reset. Week 1, audit your language. Track how often you talk about achievements versus character. Notice what questions you ask your kids. Identify pressure points in your family's routine. Week 2, create space. Eliminate one activity or commitment. Protect one evening per week for unstructured family time. Implement one achievement-free zone. Dinner, bedtime, etc. Week 3, shift your focus. Start each day asking your child, "What are you looking forward to today?" End each day sharing, "What brought you joy today?"
Celebrate one character trait or effort each day. Week 4, build connection. Schedule one-on-one time with each child. Share your own failures and imperfections. Create a family gratitude or appreciation ritual. Wallace emphasizes change doesn't happen overnight, but small, consistent shifts in how we relate to our children and to achievement can create profound transformation over time. The hope. Here's what Wallace wants parents to know. It's not too late. Even if you've been caught in toxic achievement culture for years, you can change. Even if your children are already anxious or struggling, you can help them heal. Even if you've made mistakes, you can repair and rebuild. The path to healthy achievement isn't about abandoning goals or becoming permissive. It's about remembering what matters most, raising children who feel loved, who know their worth, and who can pursue excellence without sacrificing their humanity. Key takeaway. True success isn't achieving despite pressure. It's flourishing through purpose. When we shift from achievement culture to mattering culture, our children don't just succeed, they thrive. Engagement question. What's one change you're committed to making after watching this video? Share your commitment below and let's support each other in breaking free from toxic success. FAQ section. Q1. Is this book saying we shouldn't encourage our kids to achieve? Not at all. Wallace isn't against achievement, she's against toxic achievement culture, where self-worth depends on performance. Healthy achievement is intrinsically motivated, balanced, and doesn't come at the cost of mental health. The book advocates for encouraging excellence while ensuring children feel valued for who they are, not just what they accomplish. Think of it this way. Achievement should be something children pursue because it brings meaning and growth, not something they chase to prove their worth or earn love. Q2. How do you know if my child is experiencing toxic achievement pressure? Warning signs include persistent anxiety about grades or performance, perfectionism that prevents risk-taking, loss of joy in previously loved activities, sleep problems or physical symptoms like stomach aches, inability to describe themselves without mentioning achievements, extreme reactions to setbacks or withdrawal from family and friends. If your child seems to believe their worth depends on their performance, or if achievement has become a source of stress rather than satisfaction, it's time to reassess. Trust your instincts. If your child seems more anxious than joyful, something. Q3. What if we live in a highly competitive area where everyone is focused on achievement? Wallace acknowledges this challenge and offers several strategies. First, find your tribe. Connect with like-minded families who share your values about balanced childhood. Second, set boundaries that reflect your family's priorities, even if they differ from community norms. Third, have honest conversations with your children about cultural pressure and help them develop internal reference points. One family Wallace interviewed decided not to participate in certain competitive activities, explaining to their kids, "We value effort and enjoyment over rankings." Finally, consider advocating collectively for school policy changes around homework, testing, and mental health support. You can't change the culture alone, but you can protect your family while working toward broader change. Q5. Can affluent families avoid the affluenza effect? Yes, but it requires intentional effort. Wallace suggests resist the arms race by not automatically doing what everyone else does. Use resources to support well-being rather than intensify pressure. Expose children to diverse communities and perspectives, teach gratitude and awareness of privilege, prioritize family connection over status, and redefine success beyond prestigious outcomes.
One wealthy family Wallace profiled deliberately chose a less competitive school and used their financial resources for therapy, family experiences, and charitable giving rather than endless enrichment programs. The key is using privilege to create space for authentic development, not to fuel achievement pressure. What's the difference between supporting my child and being a helicopter parent? The distinction lies in your motivation and approach. Support means being available when your child asks for help, teaching problem-solving skills, encouraging effort and growth, respecting your child's autonomy, and accepting that struggles and failures are valuable learning experiences. Helicopter parenting means constantly intervening before problems arise, solving problems for your child rather than with them, defining success on your terms rather than theirs, and preventing all discomfort or failure. Ask yourself, am I helping my child develop capabilities, or am I preventing them from developing capabilities? If your involvement is building their independence and confidence, you're supporting. If it's creating dependence and anxiety, you're helicoptering. Wallace emphasizes that the goal is raising capable adults, not perfect children. Conclusion: your journey starts now. Let me take you back one more time to Emma, that 17-year-old we met at the beginning, sitting at her desk at 2 a.m., convinced she was never enough. Here's what happened to Emma. Her parents, after reading books like Never Enough and recognizing the toxic patterns in their family, made a decision. They stopped asking about her grades. They started asking about her feelings. They told her explicitly, "We love you for who you are, not what you achieve. Your worth doesn't depend on your performance." At first, Emma didn't believe them. Years of conditional worth don't disappear overnight. But slowly, with consistency and patience, something shifted. Emma started sleeping again. She dropped 2 of her 5 extracurriculars, keeping only the ones she genuinely enjoyed. She started journaling not for college applications, but for herself. She discovered she loved creative writing, but had abandoned it years ago because it seemed impractical. When college application time came, Emma applied to schools that fit her authentic interests, not just the most prestigious names. She wrote essays that were honest and vulnerable, not perfectly polished. She got into several excellent schools. She chose one that felt right for her. Today, Emma is thriving, not because she abandoned achievement, but because she redefined it. Not because she lowered her standards, but because she changed what she was measuring. Emma's story is the promise at the heart of Never Enough by Jennifer Berhini Wallace. Here on Ladder Up English, we believe in climbing ladders that actually lead somewhere meaningful. This book teaches us that the achievement ladder we've been climbing, the one built on pressure, comparison, and conditional worth, is leaning against the wrong wall. The ladder we should be climbing is built on mattering, meaning, character, and well-being. So here's what I want you to take away from this complete book summary. Your children are not what they achieve. Their worth is inherent, not earned. The achievement trap promises fulfillment, but delivers exhaustion. Real satisfaction comes from mattering, not just achieving. Privilege without purpose creates emptiness. Use your resources to support well-being, not to intensify pressure. Support looks different than pressure. The best parents are in their children's corner, not on their back. It's never too late to change. Small shifts in language, focus, and priorities can create profound transformation. Most importantly, you are enough. Your children are enough. You have always been enough. Now go live like you believe it. This is Ladder Up English, helping you climb toward wisdom, purpose, and transformation, one book at a time. Until next time, keep growing, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep mattering.